A quick message before we start this video to say that you can now pre-order FM25 and support this channel by using a link in the description or the eye above. It gets you money off Steam's price from the offset, as well as an extra 5% off if you use my promo code at checkout, which is LOADFM25. That's LOADFM25 for an extra 5% off the already discounted price of Fanatical. Check the link out in the description below. Well, unfortunately, the day has finally come. After almost 17 seasons, 155 episodes and 928 competitive matches in charge, today will be the final two that we manage with Southend United. Into retirement, we will head fresh with a Premier League title and our first ever Carabao Cup win. But can we get our second FA Cup crown today to make it a domestic treble and 3 doses of heartbreak for Liverpool? Yes, hello and welcome along to part 155 of Saving Southend with me, Daniel. Saving Southend is complete. We have made it to the very top. And while the rise was more meteoric than almost any year before, we have now got the perfect opportunity. I know we didn't have to show this Spurs game because, look, we've won the title already, but I wanted to show you our final Premier League game as manager. We face them before we face Liverpool in 6 days' time. And there are a few injury problems, as always, ahead of the FA Cup final. Bernberg and Kivrakidis out. We are short on playmakers. We've got 5-class centre midfielders, so there's still enough to do the job. If you're looking forward to seeing how we get on and finding out whether we can make it a treble, we spent so long losing cup finals, and it is a bit of a what might have been story, because if we had been great in cup finals this year, we could have won more than in any save ever before. As it is, we're now trying to make sure we get a second FA Cup crown rather than what could have been a 5th or 6th. Let's go though first and have a look at what's been happening off camera and get through the final Premier League game against Spurs, because as you can see, we are 5 points clear with 2 games to go, and we drew the last game against Fulham, having already won the title. We got that crucial point in the last episode against Liverpool, took all of the pressure off in the last minute because the gap could have shrunk to 1 point, instead it stayed 4. We won our first 2 games, including the one in hand, and it was job done against Hull City. We didn't even have to worry about the away match. We beat Sheffield United 2-0, Ivanov and Yukalano, as we had a heavily rotated squad due to injury and fatigue. And 3 days later, we beat Chelsea 3-0. We had to be fairly patient. It was 1-0 through Elmi at half-time. Vucic had a knock, but in the second half, Kivrakidis and Nanafer both got a goal. 5-2 the victory against Hull. We were 5-0 up, then we rested a few, so looked a little bit closer than it was. Again, injuries being picked up during that match, but it was Carlos and Elmi hat-trick and Rakowski who got us the win. And then the last time out against Fulham, we were pretty useless, having already won the league. But we will rest a few people today because we're playing Tottenham at home before the FA Cup final, and that is without doubt the priority. So let's start by having a look at who we're going to put out for this one. There are a few battles in the Premier League, but there's actually not as much to play for as normal. The side that we drew to last week, Fulham, actually look like they might be going down. They're going to rely on Reading and West Ham not getting a result this weekend. We also got a bit of a battle within the Europa places, but 1st to 4th is settled. It's only really 5th and 6th between United and Arsenal, how far both have fallen. Let's go through the tactical meeting. Let's see what we can put out. It's a brilliant Spurs side. They've had a terrible year, but they lost Pashaj to Barcelona last summer, and we saw in that European quarter-final just how important a loss he'll be for them. So this is the team we've gone for today. There is one grateful return, which is Lewis Herbert, who makes his comeback. We try and get him some fitness before the FA Cup final. Otherwise, Jorg Robertson comes in to do the same. Marciano continues to build on his return. And that is basically it. Otherwise, it's a backup 11. We've got all the superstars on the bench if we need them, because I don't want to go into the cup final off a defeat, but I also don't want them to play more than half an hour. So this is the team we've picked. It is Logan McNaughton getting a run out in goal. Memic and Andre the fullbacks, with Herbert and Vite a centre-half. Robertson and Vasquez, the 2 wide men. Marciano and Muscat, 2 of the 3 remaining fit central midfielders. And up front is Teddy Ivanov and it's Joe Wills. Both of them long-term servants and legends. It's fitting that they start our last league game together. Both have been here for the majority, if not all, of our Premier League run. and both of them have delivered goals galore. Let's hope they've got a few more in them today. Well, here it is for Spurs with 6 changes made. Just looking, I know they've got Mikey Moore in original. Have they got a European final or anything? I was just seeing. No, they went out the Champions League a bit earlier, went out the FA Cup early, so they've had nothing recently. So 6 changes might just be to get people fitness, or, by the looks of it actually, to go stronger today, because it's younger players that have dropped out. So let's go through the dressing room. Let's tell the boys to prove a point. We're disappointing against Fulham. Despite having won the league, I did want to get the result there, and we didn't really offer a lot. We had no shot on target first half. We were a little bit predictable to face, and I'd like to have that solved today as we resolve the tint issue there. As Vasquez puts an early corner in. Oh, we've missed Lewis Herbert up there. Big header off the line. Vasquez again cuts in. Chance to shoot. Oh, Cole's just wide. Took a big deflection off the defender. Was heading towards that top corner. Instead, it remains 0-0. Frustrating, but a chance to put the corner in again. We're peppering the Spurs goal early in this match. Up towards Joe Wills. There we go. I would really love for him and Ivanov to both score in our final league game. They've both done so much for us since we've got here. And to be fair, the strikers, unusually for me, have been the stars of the save. We've had a few saves in the past where it's been midfielders, it's been defenders. But here, whether it was Harry Cardwell at the start, Aaron Presley through the EFL, and Joe Wills now, we've just had strikers all the way. And Liban Elmi, to be fair, was the man in the Champions League final, wasn't he? So it could all happen. This is a problem, though. Later, Muscat has picked up a knock, pulled hamstring. We've got to get him off as early as possible and hope, because that will put us down to 2 fit midfielders. We have got that youngster we signed in January, that Garnier or whatever his name is. But of the 5 world-class ones, to not be able to put 2 out in a cup final would be a worry. So unfortunately, Muscat loses out on his opportunity. And Ivo Torres has now got to do an hour, which is a risk in itself. We've been dominant in the first half, though. We're really comfortable. With 5 to the break, Spurs haven't threatened our goal. Well, there it is. Half-time, and it was 1-0 to Southend United. And to be fair, it is fully justified. Albeit, we haven't put the hammer down and pushed on after getting that early goal. We started like a house on fire. It's gone quiet since. And the injury has made us a bit quieter too. As Vasquez cuts in from the left. Can we start the second half quick? Almost. We've got to be wary as well at the hour mark of people we want to rest for the final. So Robertson and Herbert, obviously, I'm not planning to do 90 minutes. Herbert, we try and get 75 out of. Robertson, about an hour. And then it is people like Joe Wills, Vasquez, Memic. Ideally, it would have been all of them, but now that's not going to be the case because of the injury we picked up. So as we get towards 65 minutes, Jorg Robertson will definitely be one of those coming off. Katala will be on the right-hand side. Then we're going to make the decision to replace Joe Wills with Liban Elmi. And we're going to go Memic off for a Vucic. And the final save then, Vasquez will do 90. Will be Herbert off for Hansen in about 15 minutes time. Well, it hasn't been the most entertaining game, but we have got a free kick now into the final 20. Elmi heads it over and Herbert is now going to come off. He's done 74 minutes. It will be Hansen and Vite for the final 15. To be fair, they've played together quite a lot in Champions League and Cup games over the years, so not too worried about that partnership. And considering Spurs haven't even had a shot on target, don't really think we need to worry about their attacking threat. They're bringing off some of their star strikers, albeit Peraz as a sub for them. They've still got real quality up front, and the rest of their team must be awful for them to be 12th, or the manager is, one of the two. But we've got it on the left with Vasquez. Can we double our lead? Be lovely to get Teddy Ivanov a goal. Vasquez inside. It's a poor ball back, and it's cleared away downfield. Could we give away an equaliser? Oh, we might. The Sildo's going in. There's one in the middle. There's now 2 arriving. Oh, it's so frustrating. We've absolutely battered them. I know we've made a lot of changes in the defence. I know there's a few fatigue players who haven't played much football. And I know it's the sub-keeper, but that's really annoying. 1 shot, 1 goal for Spurs. And that little bit of sloppiness in these last 2 matches worries me for the final. I'm disappointed by that. And I'm disappointed we've picked up an injury too. Let's see how bad it is for Leighton Muscat before we move ahead to the final. What did Liverpool do? They drew 0-0 with City. So we finished on 90 points. Only the second time we've made the 90s in this save. Despite the fact we've won 5 titles. We get lots of money. West Ham get relegated with Fulham. And Muscat, he's out for the final. I mean, I can give him injections, but I mean, I might as well. It's the final game of the season. It's a cup final. We've got to go for it. Medals for the Premier League. Well done to all of those. Ukulano does get one, which is nice. And the bonus is paid out 19 million. That's not too bad. We're making a profit at least. Now, though, the focus turns to 6 days' time. We have got Liverpool in the FA Cup final. We beat them 1-0 in that Carabao Cup one. We've pipped them in the Premier League. Now, let's see what we can do in this one. They've beaten us far more times in cup finals than we've beaten them. Time for a bit of revenge, I think. Let's see if we can get a win in our final game in charge at Wembley Stadium. Well, we're back for our final emotional game in charge, but there's no time for sentiment. It's an FA Cup final. We've had Joe Hugill talking up in the build-up, another one of those great strikers of yesteryear. And now we go into this one, just hoping we've got enough midfielders fit, because Bernberg and Kivrakidis, as you can see, have both not made it. I did want to share one quick interesting thing that first confused me, but now makes sense. After announcing our official retirement in the last month or so, we have seen quite a lot of things change around the club, which I quite like. So, for example, the ability to make decisions in transfers and contracts has been taken out of our hands. For example, we couldn't activate the optional clause for Katala. We're seeing loads of new contracts get signed without us, but does also mean that a lot of them are earning more money than I'd like, which threatens to disrupt the harmony, but we won't be here to see that. Let's go and get through the tactical meeting and have a look at this FA Cup final. Liverpool are the one team in England that are better than us on paper. They won the league last year at a canter. They've given us a torrid time in so many cup finals. And of course, they play this 4-2-3-1 that we really struggle with. Half of the squad we've tried to sign before. Krupi, a Twitch legend for us, and Marconi, who the quicker we can see the back of him, the better. For this one, I'm going to have to make a lot of changes, of course. We'll do what the assistant says here. Then we'll adjust our 11. Decide whether we want to do the same as the League Cup final, where we went 4-5-1, put Bernberg as an extra midfielder. Once I've made that decision, we'll be back in a minute. Confirm our 11 for my final game in charge. Is it going to be one where I choose to go defensive? Well, I know he's had injections late in Muscat, but he's still not really there at the minute. So we're going to have to gamble and put Garnier on the bench. Andre can also cover midfield if need be. But this is the team I've gone for. I am not going to go for the 4-4-1-1 or the 4-1-4-1, sorry. But we might be willing to drop in a striker as an attacking mid. I've gone for Elmi over Wills, so we can do that if need be. And just drop him into that role, just to occupy the holding midfielders more than anything. But otherwise, we're going to go full strength. We've gone for Herbert, despite the assistant telling us not to. He's been left out of the Euro squad for Kieran Peacock again, which is just so infuriating to me, I've got to admit. We've also gone for Katala over Robertson. We're going for full fitness on that one. Just Herbert, the skipper, has to play in defence, and this is our squad as a result. It is Kuzqueta in goal, Carlos and Ivusic the fullbacks, with Rakowski and Herbert as centre-half. Katala and Adamson the wide men, Torres and Marciano in the middle, and up front it is Elmi alongside Fair. Our final 11 as Southend United manager. We head to an FA Cup final, a trophy we've won once, and against the great rivals Liverpool of the last 2 or 3 seasons, we'd really like to make it 2 in a row. What a recovery from them from going into administration about 6 years ago. We haven't mentioned that enough in this save. We'll do so in the recap, but today is all about stopping them on the pitch. Well, it's 5 changes for Liverpool. Some of the regulars of this season, the likes of Brook, Marginson, Cavalcante, all stepping out. But in come superstars in Marconi and Aslan. I mean, they've just got quality everywhere. Any 11 they pick is world class. But as we said, Marco Rose deserves huge credit. This is a side that was gutted when it went into administration 6 years ago. Literally gutted. They had all their stars taken. But it may have actually worked out, because one of the things we've seen with the AI squad building in FM is they have this tendency to not let go of players and end up with these really old aging squads. Whereas Liverpool, about 11 years in, were forced to let all these players go when they were 30, 31, 32, that they might have otherwise held on to. And as a result, they've developed the next generation of brilliant stars that they've brought in at 18, 19, 20 and are now in their peak. So you could argue it's been a blessing in disguise for them. For us, we're going to start on the front foot. We're going to start 4-4-2. If it looks like we're going to get overrun, as it has many times against them before, we'll drop Elmi into the number 10 and see if it makes a difference. For now, though, both sides in good unbeaten form. Both sides dropped a few silly points recently. Let's get into the final game of the save and see how we do at Wembley. What a way to walk out for the final time in charge. Let's not turn it into a horror show now, eh? Well, we are back just 2 minutes in for our first highlight, and it is Southend United on the attack with Katala. Good ball in, and an early goal. Nana Fair lays it off to Adamson. So unselfish from the striker. He could have gone for it, but he plays it out to Adamson, who has time for a touch, and rifles it in the Englishman. Another one who can't get in that England squad, which is so infuriating when you see the quality that him and Herbert have produced. Imagine winning a title 5 seasons out of 6 and not being able to get in the England squad as regular starters for that team. It's 20 minutes gone. Liverpool yet to have a shot. This is very unlike them against us. If they want to pick a day to have a bad one at the office, now would be great. Though we know they're a threat from set pieces, and it deflects in. Massive deflection. Of all the times for it, is that going to wake them up? Nick Smith, I mean, we know he's world class, but that is so unfortunate. And now they're straight on the attack again. Ivusic wins it back for Cusqueta, the keeper. He plays out to Ivusic, and it's down the line. Katala looks forward for Fair. It's a quick counter-attack. It's flowing nicely. Fair's got Elmi with him. He's got Adamson with him. Doesn't use either. In the end, he probably should have. Pokes at it. It goes wide comfortably. For a bit of comparison, there's Nick Smith. Probably better as a winger than a striker, but he's as good as Vasquez. He's as good as Adamson, if not slightly better. He is the man keeping Adamson out the England squad, or out the team at least. Why he's not the backup, I don't know. As Katala gives it to Ivusic. And again, we have been a better team in this match, which is not always the case for us. But we lose it, and we're now vulnerable to the counter. It's actually Liverpool doing it to us this time. Katala wins it back on halfway, though. He's just composed, plays it to his centre-half. Can we now build a proper, meaningful attack? Ivusic at right back, into Torres. Ivusic again. Inside to Rakowski. You can see they're pressing us. They're trying to stop us getting out here. At the moment, it's working. We're just passing it along the back line. Got nowhere to go. Is this a key highlight? Why are we being shown this? Oh, that's why. That's why. Oh, get out of here. Get out of here. Our final game, Lewis. A wonderful captain for so many years. Our final game in charge. And you've decided to take a bung and lose me the FA Cup final. Liverpool have had 2 shots in the entire match and have scored them both. And that, it's not even a gift. It's corruption. He's under no pressure at all. He's just stood there and waited to be challenged. Fair's offside. This won't count. Don't worry about that. I cannot believe what I'm watching. We've absolutely battered them. Look at the stats. 1.5 expected goals. We've wasted a couple of glorious chances. And in the 2 we've given up. One's a massive deflection, but the second one. Oh, this is going to be the most heartbreaking finish, isn't it? Into the second half. We've played well. It's not going to be our day. I think it's about time we add insult to injury as well, because Liverpool have an early goal, corner kick, in the second half. Giancarlos has completely missed it. Either he was pushed in the back or he's completely misjudged the ball. We'll throw a bit of encouragement, but I don't know what more we can do. It's the best we've played for a long, long time against this team, but you can't legislate for what's happened. You cannot legislate for some of those mistakes. Herbert's going to come off for Hansen. It's going to be my most bitter ending with him. Memic on for Ivusic. I'm not going to take Elmi off just yet. I'm tempted by Marciano, but we've only got Garnier in there. And he's not quite the same level, is he? I'm going to leave it for now. Just those 2 at the back. And hopefully it'll give us a better platform to push forward. But in the second half, we've offered nothing. And to be honest, I think we're going to go attacking now. There's 15 to go. We are going to throw Garnier on. He will replace Marciano, who's knackered. Torres will go box to box. Up front, I'm going to have to take Elmi off. He's playing poorly. Joe Wills, you've been a hero so many times. And Katala is going to come off as well for Jorg Robertson. I'm just hoping there's one more bit of magic in those boots. 15 to go. Memic on the right with a throw. Dangerous position and Jorg Robertson in support. Here he is. Cuts inside, goes all the way back to Rakowski. Here's Garnier. Way to make yourself a hero, perhaps. Deflected shot falls for Fair. And his shot deflects behind for a corner. Almost the moment. Garnier tries to go for something wild and it almost worked out. Maybe that's what we need. The exuberance of youth. Nana Fair with the corner. Up to the back post. Joe Wills, what a save. They've brought on Zaire Emery. They're trying to be a bit more cautious at the back. They just want to see this one out now. Whereas Adamson, another corner to get it right. Joe Will's up again. And it's out for a throw-in. I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, Liverpool have had to do nothing to go 2-1 up. And ultimately, not for the first time against this opposition in this stadium, it's going to be a devastating error that costs us. Torres did it to lose us the first League Cup final against Liverpool, didn't he? With that short back pass. And Lewis Herbert, of all people, can he be saved? There's 30 seconds left. Garnier goes back to Hansen. This is the final chance. We're attacking. We're encouraging. Joe Wills, Nana Fair's offside. Why didn't you shoot, Joe? We lose our final game. I mean, it's almost a fitting way to end the save. Losing yet another cup final to Liverpool. The last of many. And it's not the treble this season, it's a double. A League Cup, our first ever one, and a Premier League title. I can't bear to watch. I'm disappointed to miss out. The manner of it as well. And Lewis Herbert, how could you do that to me in my final game? How could you do it? Let's go and have a look now. The season's finished. I want to know when the resignation comes. Whether it comes immediately or on the season review day. We'll have a look in the next couple for that. We'll attend the press conference. We'll see what happens. And then we'll be here for season review in a moment. Well, there we are. It happened pretty quickly. Less than a week later, we have retired. Our manager has gone. And our save is over at Southend United. Let's go and have a look at the club and see how they're getting on. And whether or not they've got another new manager in yet. No, they have not, is the simple answer to that. We don't even get to see out the season review, which is a little bit of a shame. I wonder if my manager's still in the game, actually. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So a quick reflection on what we achieved at this football club. I mean, it's a pretty incredible effort, isn't it? We were Manager of the Year in all 5 divisions from the National League up to the Premier League. We had the most meteoric rise you've ever seen. However, we've also won plenty of other stuff too. We won the European South American Club Challenge in 2033. That's basically the second tier of the UEFA Super Cup. The winners of the Europa League against the winners of the South American second competition. Community Shield doesn't really matter. We finally got the Carabao Cup this year. We won the FA Cup once. The Europa League once, the Champions League once in our penultimate season, the National League in our second year, the Championship in 2029, and 5 Premier League titles in the final 6 seasons. What an effort it's been. We retire after just 17 years in charge and achieving the unthinkable at Southend United. Time to say goodbye. Thank you for following along over the past 12 months. It's been an eventful and a pretty legendary save with so many great stars along the way. Let me know your favourite 11 down in the comments. And of course, I will come and give you mine as well. We're also, as a few people have asked and mentioned already, we're going to go on holiday 5 years and see how Southend United get on after us, whether they completely dismantle the squad, whether their success continues, or whether they end up falling away. So come and join us in a few days' time for that one, which will be the final episode from this save. Thank you so much for getting involved. If you enjoyed it, please do chuck a thumbs up on the video. A shame we couldn't finish with a treble. We did get a double, which was pretty good in itself. And we finally won the Carabao Cup, which ultimately was the thing I desperately needed. If you want to stay up to date and see all my save ideas for FM25, as well as plenty of videos discussing the roadmap for the new game over the next few weeks, as well, of course, as plenty of FM25 content once it's released, then please do subscribe and turn that notification bell on. You can find links in the eye above to all the key things you might have missed, including our first FM25 save ideas video. And there's also links there to the Twitch channel where we've got an active save still going, and the football podcast for loads of content too. Thank you so much for joining me for another epic One Club journey. It's going to be a very different style of save next year, but I'm looking forward to it just as much. Hopefully you are as well. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you again soon with more save ideas for FM25.